All right, welcome everybody. It's Doug with the LincolnList.com. This is the Stock Market Weekly Review for the 18th of April. Hope all is well with you. And before we get into this weekly report here, I'm going to be doing a free webinar this Thursday about trading with our hedge fund. This is an opportunity where we will teach you our strategies, teach you how to trade, and then provide you with the capital to trade on. So if that's something that fits where you're trying to go, maybe you're not consistent right now with your trading and you need additional training to get you to the next level, or maybe you're interested in day trading, or you just need extra capital to trade on. Maybe your account's a little thin, things happen, but if that's something that you're interested in, sign up for the free webinar. We're going to be discussing how we do that, and I'll see everyone on Thursday. Now, as we talk a little bit about the market, to me, it really hasn't changed much since last week. We're kind of after this little melt-up rally that we had from February. We're just still kind of hanging out up there, and to me, it felt like the week was in slow motion. That might be different for some other people, but you know, that's the way it was for me. I just feel like the volatility isn't there like it has been in the past, and of course that'll probably change, but that's the way it felt to me. Maybe I'm completely off, who knows. You did get a little bit of a break here over this 207, and I kind of thought maybe we'd see a little bit more push. It looks to me like we're going to see 210 and maybe even tap these highs up towards the 211s, 212s here in the next coming week or so. We'll see how it happens. If you're actually looking at any kind of sell-off, you'd have to do a couple of closes underneath a 203, and maybe you'd connect with the 50 moving average. But it just seems like right now, and that could change at any minute. Trust me, that can change at any minute. It just seems like every dip's still continuing to get bought. A lot of the fear has been removed from this market, but we'll see how the week progresses. Now, as we look at some individual stocks, there's still some pretty decent opportunities. One here I want to look is JUNO, and I've been always been so bearish when it's come to talking about JUNO, but this chart's really starting to line up pretty good. The biosector has been a touch hot this week. We've seen some pretty good names running. We've had some pretty strong days in both, the IBB, XBI, etc. But this thing's flagging here nicely. I'm gonna take a look at this thing, and I was thinking it's probably once it got underneath the 20 back here, it was going to fade, like blue and the rest of these seem to do. But this, all credit where credit is due here. JUNO's holding up. If you get back up towards this 45.5 to 46, you could see a pretty nice breakout. I think in this case you'd have to see a strong sector, strong performance across the board with the bios. Maybe that's not always the case, but that's the way I think you'd have to see this. You might get a march to 50. It's a little distance away from that breakout, not a huge distance. But one thing I like to do when I'm trading breakouts is just because it crosses a breakout number doesn't necessarily make it a great breakout trade. You want the thing to build around those levels. So the first thing, it would have to kind of pop up a little bit towards 45.60s, 45.70s, then hold. What we see a lot in this market is it'll go to 45.70, everybody piles on, then it shoots up to 50, and then it ends up back to 46 before the day's over. People are really into chase mode right now, in the fear that they're going to miss a rally, and that's a problem with a lot of traders. But to me, this thing is going to have to pop up towards that 46, build a little bit, then break through for me to even consider that. Now, that doesn't mean that's the only way this works. Maybe that would cost me. Maybe it would just go vert into 50 and then flag there for two weeks, and I missed a trade completely. But that's how I roll, and that's what I do. So JUNO, possibly. If we see continued strength throughout that sector, I wouldn't write this thing, having a pretty good day, or a good breakout day, or a couple of good run-up days. Also want to look at this, VASIC. I'm going to call it VASIC. Look at this. Look at this. Now, this thing has been running all day on Friday, and it never got vertical enough. If you was at the webinar that I had last week, we talked about shorting stocks. And one of the myths about shorting stocks is people say just because a stock is up X percentage, it's a short. No, it's not. It depends on how, when I'm talking about shorting a stock, it depends on how it actually moves. And one thing I like is a vertical move, or a blow off top, or a euphoric candle, exhaustion candles, whatever you want to call them. You just didn't get that. This thing was just grinding, flagging, grinding, and flagging. Now, if in some case we see a gap up towards 40, or a really strong push, or a vertical move on Monday, I'd like to short this stock. I think it's a good opportunity to short this. They do have earnings coming up here on the 25th, so that shouldn't get in the way for a few days. But if you can get a good move towards 40, I would short that. Now, that doesn't mean if it crosses 40, then I'm a short seller of this name, Because if it flags and it builds at 40, no, I don't want to short that. The thing can go to 45. But I want to watch it. It was just a little too grindish for Friday for me to even touch. But I'll give it an opportunity on Monday if it wants to go vertical. Then I'd be interested. No vert. I'm not interested in if it flushes or dips. I'm not interested in buying it either. I just want to short this thing, but only on that condition if it breaks out. Now, DLTH could be the same. You guys know that. Duluth Trading, no stink, no sweat. I'm sure you've seen those commercials. I always say that every time I see this stock. Anyway, good earnings on this thing. Nice pop. We've seen that. You know, people really love the earnings plays now. It's not the hugest range I've ever seen, but this was a good breakout on Friday. I think maybe once you cross this 2364, it kind of got maybe just a little bit ahead of itself. And if it, just like we were talking about VASC, VASC there, I want the same kind of set here. If you get the vertical, you know, let's say, and what I mean by it, maybe we wake up Monday and there's a huge gap up. I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but maybe. You get a big gap up, these stocks start poking their heads around +2, +3, then I'm interested in shorting that. A good example would be this EBIX trade for us on Friday if you followed the tweets that I had about this, shorting this stock. And it's all about speed and price and etc. when you're shorting, and this is a great example. I mentioned I was going to short this thing here at 46. I got in a shade under 46, but that's the thing. Before the market's even open, you got this stock. It's way top side of range. It's really, really steep. That's going to be a very difficult move, you know, to sustain. So this was a nice little short capture right here before the market even opens. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm not saying it would happen pre-market, but if we do get a nice little vertical move here, maybe on this Duluth, it will also be nice in VASC for a couple of shorts. Last I'm going to throw on this list, somebody I don't get along with too well, SPLK, SPLK. Oh boy. And the reason I don't get along is I got smoked on this trade about a year back. So, you know, I don't know necessarily how I feel about it, but I got to bring it up because I love the look of the chart. If I could just erase, and sometimes you got to do that. You got to put a like a piece of tape over top of the ticker symbol sometimes, and just look at the chart. Try not to, because sometimes you know you get burned on a stock, or you had a bad experience with a stock, or you simply don't like a stock. You see a really nice chart, you're like, oh wow, this looks great. Then you look over the ticker like, hell no, I ain't trading that. And some you just don't want to trade. I get it. But I wasn't burned that bad to where I won't want to trade it. I just don't like it, if that makes any sense. So let's just talk about the stock, because maybe you're completely different right here and you just want to make money, and this idea can make you money. Look, just look at the daily and this consolidation. This is just the tight one of the tightest formations I've seen. This thing has been running a rope for an entire month and a half. And if it breaks over top of this 50 area, this thing is probably going to start really gearing up in the volume category. Now, it's not doing that right now. Friday, you got a little bit of a spike here towards the end of the day. Just keep your eyes on this. I mean, you certainly, as I keep saying through the theme through all of my watch lists, is you don't want to chase a parabolic. You don't want to do that. You know, the entry price that you have as a trader is very, very important. The better the entry, the least likely to be stopped out, and the more profits you make, etc. It's like this whole snowball effect. Poor entries can lead to poor being stopped out prematurely, shaken out of a trade, etc. But keep an eye on this one. If it breaks there, and I think you've got to get more volume on this if you expect this breakout to stick, because this volume is not very much right now for this stock. So you want to see a little bit more over the 50 mark. You want to see a little bit more coming in, you know, maybe 3-4 million shares here a day average. I think that's what we're looking at. Let's try to get to that. This could be a good breakout. You know, maybe something comes along as well, news on the sector, increases the range, because right now it doesn't have that, but the chart's tight. So if you make that break, could be something worth taking a look at. I'm going to leave it at that right now. That's enough to get started. As always, you never know what might happen when the market opens up on Monday. All this stuff can go out the window because there's a bunch of other opportunities. That's what you need to do as a trader. You know, you have to have plan A and plan B. You have to be able to think on your feet, and you have to be able to react quickly. And if you're having trouble with that, and that's something where you suffer, then visit thelincolnlist.com. You'll see the format that we use is completely different. All of our trades are live on screen. You're hearing our voice or our audio, as well as seeing the charts in real time. gives you the understanding of how things work. I've often mentioned, it's not about just setups, and you got setups are one thing. That's just one piece of this puzzle. The rest of this puzzle has to do with psychology, execution, managing these trades once you're in these trades, and handling all facets of that game. And you know what I'm talking about, because sometimes you'll have a really great idea, but you just mess the thing up. You just botch it by chasing an entry or not doing what you said you were going to do, getting frustrated, and you take a really great idea and you mess the thing up. You just mess it up. And you know what I'm talking about. We've all been guilty. I don't care who the trader is. We've all been guilty of stuff like that. And, as you progress through your career, that lessens. You have less of those moments. In the beginning, it seems like you have a lot of those. But if you're struggling with that aspect of your game, you're looking to try to go somewhere larger than where you are right now, take a moment, visit thelinkenlist.com. If you're interested in this webinar coming up, make sure you sign up. It's going to be on Thursday. It'll be a good time. You'll definitely learn something. So on that note, I'm just going to leave it right here. Thanks for watching this video as always. If you ever need questions, you just want to reach out to me and just ask me something. You don't have to be a member to do that. Support at thelinkenlist.com. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great week of trading. Talk to you soon.